Hey now.
Did we do it?
I have no idea.
All right.
No idea if the world can do this or not.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I did mine, but whatever.
I mean, it says it.
Okay. Hello, Vanessa.
Hi.
Congratulations on 1 year of being unemployed.
Thank you.
1 year ago, Vanessa Johnson quit her job, her high paying, high performance job, to become what? What are you?
A lunatic?
Uh, can you tell me what those moments were like when you set on that commitment to end a career that was serving you in a lot of ways really well and paying you really well?
Yeah. You mean the moments of when I declared I was leaving and then
Yeah.
it was very bittersweet. And the reason I had stayed for so long, there were a lot of them, but security, right? Knowing that I'm going to get paid X every month, knowing that my bills are paid, knowing I can essentially do whatever I want with my money. And so it was hard to let go of, and especially at the precipice of a life that I didn't know was going to what it was going to look like. Never imagined it would look like this. So it was bittersweet. Yeah, it was. I knew that it was time to go. I knew that I was not fulfilled in my life. And that every day that I continued to show up at the job that wasn't in alignment with the vision that I wanted for my life just felt really difficult and took my energy. Like I would be tired, physically tired from just living out of alignment. And so when I finally made that move, it was, and then there was an adjustment, right? Because I went 20 years of being an accountant, going to a job every day and living in this like specific routine to what the hell do I do with myself every day? Where do I belong in this company as the CEO? You know, what's my role? What's my value? It's been a lot.
What has it taught you about yourself?
That's a really great question. So I knew that I'm willing to do the work and you know, but what I didn't know was how much I value my life, my vision, what it looks like for me. I learned how to look into the future and really tap into like where I want to live, who I want to live with, you know, what do I want to see, what do I want to hear, what do I want to eat, and like really, really get clear. And then I learned that everything that I do that doesn't lead me in that direction is out of alignment and like not where I should be, not what I should be doing. So it just felt like going against my own grain, you know?
I love seeing, forgive me, but I love seeing you go through a lot of the pain and turmoil that I've been through as an entrepreneur, and having that with you. But what you threw yourself into something that can have a roller coaster like effect on your emotions. So what is going from a W-2, a consistent income, to owning a high pressure business due to a Vanessa Johnson?
It feels like running intentionally into a house fire. And loving every second of it because it's for us, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But man, I've developed some trust issues in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely a roller coaster of hope and then punch in the face on a daily. But again, it's just like everything else. Like, you know, I have the dry erase board that I stare at every day of like, what's the impossible game? You know, like what seems so ridiculous Oh, I'm getting a feedback on myself. Nobody wants that. And I focus on that. You know, it doesn't matter how I feel today per se. The plan is what matters. The goals are what matters. So I know there's going to be obstacles. I'm ready for them.
Love that.
Thanks.
What surprised you about this whole thing?
Time. I thought that it would be difficult a little, but then easy quicker. Mm-hmm. So like standing at the 1 year point, I thought that maybe then I thought that I'd be further now, but I do recognize in the moment that, yeah, it actually is working, and, the pipeline's moving and like things are happening. I guess I just thought that success would feel easier.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems that way from the sidelines, doesn't it?
Totally.
I love the quote, Mike Tyson's quote, "Everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face."
Yeah.
That is essentially what we've been doing, is we've been having fantastic plans with a lot of punches in the face. And it's been a really interesting to have someone to like stress with. I've been stressing alone. I finally get to stress with another.
Yeah. I would not have done this without you. For sure. You're my person. I trust you. And having to do this with learning other people's methodologies and understanding how they work and what their integrity levels are. And I wouldn't have been into it, like I would have just lone wolfed. So it's definitely because of you that I felt safe enough to actually take this big step.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's true.
Would you ever go back?
Never.
Okay.
Never. Give me all the punches in the face. Never.
In your hardest moments over this course of this year, like what stands out to you as like the feelings of stress, or like the things when things got the hardest for us so far, because they're going to keep coming. Great. What goes through a new person? Because I've been through this stuff, like I almost forgot what it's like to be new and have that that first punch in the face, or that first real entrepreneurial challenge, or like it looks like we're going out of business, which happens, you don't realize happens like once a month,
Yeah. Well, the expectation and the way I've lived my life is a 4.0 student, right? If it's not an A, it's an F.
Mm-hmm.
And, those patterns and habits that have led me to be this woman. In this business, though, there's a lot of things that are not in my control. And that's the hardest thing. Right. Is not being able to make sure that the intention actually goes all the way through to the end, because there's so many outside interferences. It's hard. It's really hard because you can put the plan together step by step, right? It can be beautiful, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen once title gets run, or this person breaks up with that person, and like, how it goes. Like we're dealing with.
This is where us C and D students thrive.
I'm still thriving, but man,
we know what it's like to have trouble and live through this stuff. Like that's, I think, one of the bonuses of being the C student, and just figure out how to get through on the skin of my wits.
Yeah.
It's been, I think that's one of the wins of that, is that's what a lot of that where you get a lot of entrepreneurs is in those, out of those C and D students that are hyper creative and get themselves in trouble and then have to get themselves out of trouble. And
Dan Martell says something similar about kids who've grown up in like chaos and had to raise themselves, and like circumstances where you're put in situations where you have to really get creative and like figure shit out to survive. Same idea.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. So you want to do another year? You're going to sign up for another year of entrepreneurship?
Bring it on. Yeah, we're only getting better, truthfully.
Yeah.
You know, I think our success comes from our ability to really measure performance and like the outcomes of things, and then pivoting in the moment instead of waiting 6 months and going, shit, we really should have pulled the plug on this. Then we just do it.
Yeah. We were bragging the other day about how we high-fived on how much we failed in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. What would you tell people that are on the fence about doing what you did, about taking the leap of faith on what their dreams are? What's your advice to prepare them and how to make that decision?
Yeah, I think first it just comes from tapping into your heart and figuring out, what do you really want in your life? You know, who do you want to be? What do you want to achieve? What does that really look and feel like? Because there's a difference between success and fulfillment, right? Success means I can climb the corporate ladder and make multiple six figures and have a house. Great. That's enough for some people. And there's no judgment on that. But for me, I'm like, okay, what's next? Okay. And what's next? Because I know there's more for me, you know, and I know that I could be a stand for people, you know, who are also at the teetering point of what's my next level, you know, I'm always feeling that pull for growth.
And that doesn't just mean money. And it doesn't even have to be money. I mean, growth is personal. And I was just on a podcast an hour ago, and we talked about that. Like, growth really is part of entrepreneurship. Like, I think you say it all the time. Like, the ultimate self-help process is entrepreneurship, because you're either going to become that next person or you're going to fail. Or if you work in the post office, you can stay the person you are.
Sure.
And you're not going to lose your job. Everything's going to be okay. You're not going to change. And you can opt to self-help yourself and grow and be better. But there's nothing forcing you to do so. Where in entrepreneurship, you better.
Or you grow or die.
Yeah. You're growing with a gun to your head. You're self-helping with a gun to your head.
Yeah. And I also think there's just a part of some people who feel that no matter what. You know, I've always been that way. Even working a full-time job, I've always been full-time college, always been 7 days a week workout, always been like interested in more licensing, more certification, more. There's just this pull, you know, and it's like something to follow. If follow it or don't, you know, find a reason or find an excuse.
Right. So if people want to follow you or hire you as a coach or do anything or get advice from you on real estate, how do they find you?
I prefer Instagram at visionary_Vanessa.ny. And I'm open to talking about all of those things you just said. Yeah. There's definitely a lot to overcome within yourself to take that leap. And to just be a person who in general wants to grow and maybe feel stuck and, you know, you don't know how. So yeah, I can definitely support in walking through what that looks like, kind of pulling it apart and seeing where we stand.
Well,
yeah, it's fun.
I'm proud of you, and I'm excited. 1 year is done and we got like 40 more to go.
40, shorty.
All right.
All right, we did it.
We did it.
Thanks, babe.
How do I undo it?
I have no idea.